I can see a hand. I'm sorry because the lights are just right at the very back. If you could kindly just say who you are.
I'm Peter Haffer from Avon and Somerset Police Authority. I'm just curious, having heard what you've said, that outside this world, there are lots of areas where there are principles of very good governance. If you looked at the Cadbury principles, where there has to be proper arrangements for these things to work. And you've spent a lot of time concentrating on the checks and balances. We need a chief constable to have checks and balances. We need this strong panel to have checks and balances. Because it seems, and you've got the wrong person there, you tell us, we don't know how to get anything other than the white middle class male. Doesn't that seem to suggest to you that you have the wrong principle of governance because you're concentrating on how you can control that governance that in essence is set up wrong?
No, I did. Yeah, please.
Well, I think if we look at the London mayoral model, for instance, during the debate that took place before the legislation came forward in 2000, there were lots of discussions about checks and balances. There were lots of discussions about the controls that needed to be put in place to ensure that the mayor wasn't able to push ahead with any policies that didn't at least come under a very high level of scrutiny. And I think the changes that were made to the legislation and the changes that have been made since that legislation have ensured that the mayor is able, first of all, to pursue the electoral mandate that he has, but also is subject to a reasonable level of scrutiny by the Assembly. So I think the fact that we're flagging up concerns about some of the governance issues doesn't mean that those can't be resolved. I think they were in relation to the mayor, and I think they can be in relation to elected police and crime commissioners.
Thanks. Anne, sorry, I think you put the clue, but I think it's Anne Barnes.
Morning, Tom. Thank you very much indeed for coming along today. My name is Anne Barnes, and I'm Chair of Kent Police Authority and Deputy Chair of the APA. I'm quite a simplistic sort of person. And I do understand that sometimes you have to be a bit pragmatic. But I do think that principles matter. And if you lose your principles, well, there's not a lot left in life, really, and you lose your self-respect. Now, I was sitting at a meeting with a lot of colleagues here when Chris Hume came to talk to us. And he was your representative on Home Affairs. He was a Lib Dem spokesman on Home Affairs. And we were discussing accountability, obviously. We discuss it a lot. And he said, and I wrote it down, actually, contemporaneous notes for those police officers here. It's actually in black and white in one of my books. He said, and I quote, that the Conservative idea for directly elected commissioners was the single most dangerous model of police governance he had ever heard of. Do you agree with him?
I always worry when someone starts with "I'm a simplistic sort of person," because you know that's not actually true. Do principles matter? Of course they do. However, I think in a coalition government, it's clear that no political party is going to be able to deliver the totality of what it wanted to deliver in relation to its manifesto. And although it's very clear, and Brian made this clear, and I'm happy to make it clear that we did not support the principle of elected police commissioners as put forward at that time by the Conservatives, it's also true that we thought that there was a need to improve the accountability of police authorities. So to some extent, those principles that have come from the Conservative principle, which was very much one of a single person who'll be able to take full responsibility, with a Liberal Democrat principle that there should be, yes, there should be more accountability, but it should be based on a wider representation of views locally. To some extent, those two views have come together. And I'm comfortable with that, and I think that it's something that we can work on. And I hope that you'll be willing to work with it too, because this is, although I think we can mould through the as the bill goes through the House, through the two houses. I think we can certainly improve on the bill. I think, as one of your earlier questioners said, this is a very clear commitment from the Prime Minister, one that he made indeed before he became the leader of the Conservative Party. And therefore, he is intent on delivering this, and our role is to improve the proposal.
With respect, you didn't answer my question. I said, did you agree that this was the single most dangerous model of police accountability, which is what the Lib Dems were saying at the time?
Well,
I'll do a Jeremy Paxman, you know, Tom.
Yes, yeah. Well, I'm going to respond to that by saying that one of the things I actually enjoy about coalition government is that two political parties are working together. And what I've learned through the process is that in opposition, it's very easy to have a go. It's very easy to state, I mean, when you're in opposition, you state black and white. That's the way opposition works. But actually, there are things that I am learning from Conservative colleagues. There are things that the Conservatives are learning from us. And I think this process of coalition, I think, is one that we're going to get more used to in future elections, because I think the two-party system is one that has gone. We're now in a three-party system, and therefore, no, I think that I think we can, if the principle, if what had been proposed, if what was coming forward now was an elected police commissioner who had total control, no scrutiny, then yes, I'd agree with Chris, but that's not what is being proposed.
Can somebody write that down?
I think it's all being recorded. And as you said, Anne, a simplistic approach to the issue for us. Now, other hands, please. I've seen some. Is anybody in another corner? I'll come around a minute, please. The front, gentleman there.
Peter Viger, Staffordshire. I'll be very quick because I know Paul's been waiting over there, hidden in the lights. It's just to say that principles apart, were this new scheme, if it goes ahead, to start to obviously be costing more than the old scheme, given that the fiscal challenges and the other things have been called that we're all under, how important is that to you? And is there a point beyond which you would think it wasn't worth it?
Well, I think governments clearly, you're completely right in that the financial position is a difficult one at the moment, and therefore the government obviously are cutting back budgets in a number of areas. However, I think at the same time it's perfectly right for a government, as we have done in relation to things like the pupil premium, to say that there are areas of funding which we think are so important that we are willing to divert resources from other places to ensure that funding is available. That's what's happened in relation to the pupil premium, and that's what's happening in relation to elected police and crime commissioners. I'm clearly, the cost issue is a big one. I think the minister is particularly aware of the need to keep costs down in this area for political reasons, and I am sure that the elected police commissioners, when they are elected and when they look to appoint the people who are going to work with them, are also going to be extremely conscious of what is going to happen if the costs that they are incurring through the staff they're going to have around them are unacceptable. Because one other, I think, underlying principle or policy that cuts across all government activities is to have more transparency about what the cost of all of these things are, whether it's at a local authority level, whether it's at a government level, or whether it's at an elected police and crime commissioner level.